Hello YouTube, this is Chief here with KRGraphics, and I'm back with another video, and this is going to be a quick one, and also an update to an older video that I did late last year, and it covered the use of image-based lighting inside of Unity. Now what you're seeing here is character models from my current game project, and you may have seen them before, well, not this guy, and after yesterday, I sat down and did a little experimentation to try to improve my lighting, and I think I finally found a way to get that improvement into my project. So what you're seeing here is actually the scene being lit by an HDR. That's all you're seeing here. As of right now, the scene here, this light here, all the lights have been disabled. My inspector's off screen for now. I have a certain setup. Let me bring it in and show you. So I'm making this up. Let's bring this in. My inspector. Alright, so the sunlight in the scene is turned off. In fact, this is a render of one of the levels in my game that I call the Immortal Valley. It's kind of a cool little eerie ambient level. And for this one, this is a daytime version of this. And what I want to do as a test is see if I can light my level completely using full IVL. Now, in a previous video, you saw me use another program to tweak my HDRs, and while nice, it didn't yield the results I'm looking for. You know, it made the sky look washed out. So I also want to be able to keep my luminance values within my sky. So right here, this kind of sunspot, the sky here is all lit with an IVL. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go to Photoshop now and show you how I can tweak the luminance values of the sunlight and any surrounding area in the sky. Right now the sky's blue, which is good for us. We want that. So let me go to my shader for a minute there, and I'm going to go ahead and just take the tint color, and right now it's at 50%, which is the default in Unity. And I'm gonna tweak the exposure value just a little bit. You know, it's set to something small. 2 is too bright, because once you have this, you won't even need a high value like this. So go to 1.25. That's a pretty good size of exposure. And you want proof that the sky is true HDR. If I go to my exposure and turn it down, this sunspot should still show even in darkness. Well, not really darkness, but it'll show in the dark. So if I do this, right now the sun's fading away a little bit because of the lack of a luminance value in the sun, which should be bright in the sky. And I'm gonna show you how I go about doing that. So go to Photoshop right now. Here's the sky. This boring default sky that big up view, which for some odd reason it doesn't support full range HDR. So to go about fixing this, you look at your eyedropper tool. You notice it says 8-bit, and the EXR is 32-bit. So if I hover over any part of this, you'll see the sun is at 255. It's currently capped. There's no way to go over this right now with 8-bit information. And after last night, I was kicking myself last night because I finally, after so many years, I tried to figure out how to see my luminance values. So at Photoshop, you can go to the little button here on info, the little dropper tool right here. If you click here, you'll see all these options, and I cannot believe after the years of knowing Photoshop, I never knew this. Which is great, which is good for all of us now to test the luminance values out of Photoshop. So I want to see the 32-bit floating point. So go to 32-bit, and now you can see the lux values of all the pixels in your scene. This is pretty low. I mean, I'm hoping to figure out eventually how to fix this so that I get full lux value in the sky. The important one I want is the sun. That's the important one I want. The sun has a lux value of 4.0 HDR, which is pretty bright in Unity standards. But I want to eclipse this. I want to eclipse this. I want to get enough lighting in here so that theoretically, I could theoretically have it overcast scene and not use any light at all. So to do this, I'm gonna go. I've already prepared the scene already, but what I've done is I can go here to lay here, layer white. You have to multiply. In Photoshop, normally you can't do it like this without tweaking the value. So if I go to my solid color, pull it off here. You'll see all the stops here. So this is a intensity of 1.41 stops, which is basically like a intensity value. I can set an intensity value up to 20 in Photoshop, which is a good, pretty good, which is an unfortunate limit, but you know we can work around this. And so let's set to like 8. Okay, and that's pretty bright for a sky. What happens is the whole sky is covered now with this color. We don't want that happening. So go down like 3. Give it a second here. That's still kind of bright. You know, so this is a nice way to get a little more extra value in your skies. All those are going to be lower now because the sun is supposed to be the brightest spot in the sky. So I go here now. You see now 8. Now it's 8, which is pretty bright. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this sky here, and save the sky, and I'm gonna save it as EXR. I've noticed that EXR files work a lot better than HDR files. That's my own opinion, of course. So let it save. Then go to Unity, and in the cube map will automatically calculate itself. It doesn't stop there. If I hit bake in the shot, it should actually all the highlights in the scene get brighter if I change the lux value of the sun, which I'll do next. I found out that I could do that. I could do it directly in Photoshop and see the results of the luminance values just by that sun. And a little side note, I've been using Vue for many years for creating like sky maps. In fact, I have one baking right now as we speak. I was very surprised that it doesn't export full HDRs like TerraGen, which I'm also be using in future projects. So you probably didn't notice though, the highlight got brighter. So if I go ahead and generate lighting for lighting, because by the way, this is also set to real time. By the way, it's gonna the signal update is gonna add all the lighting in here. You know, and and theoretically, it's going to be a little more brighter in the scene. The cube here to let it bake. But yeah, during this research, I've been trying to find ways to light my scenes more naturally without the use of fake lights. And this is also useful for things like sunsets. You know, the sun's hanging in the sky, very bright. But of course, I found a limit to this, using Full HDR in Unity, in that CG film, CGI film, you can go as bright as you want in the sun. It doesn't even matter honestly the sun. However, in Unity, I think it's capped at 65,000 something. I don't remember the number, exact value. I was reading this document on how to prepare HDRs for Unity for look dev, and basically it allowed me to see the value of the sky whenever I wish. So let's go into the bake, and it should finish up. Here we go. You probably didn't notice that, but the highlights even themselves out, which is great. You also notice there's more blue in the scene. The sky's a little brighter. That's okay. I can always tweak this later. So you want blue sky? Let's go back and just look, just move the lux value a little bit, or go to your layer and just and bring it down a little bit. You know, you don't want too much lux, otherwise your scene will blow up. Now, I want the sun to be a little brighter, so do that. I went ahead and I painted a mask in the scene. Let me show you the mask. This is basically this is the sun in the HDR. I just created an inverted mask and just painted the sun in it. Now, if I go back to my my layer and I hover over this, you see the little RGB values? It's now at 119.8. Now in Unity terms, in terms of Unity, that is extremely bright, which is good for those who do visual effects in movies, because the sun is a very bright light source. Not so much here in Unity. A value of 120 is equivalent to taking the emissive value in a shader and cranking it all the way up to ridiculous levels. It's like taking the sun, a sphere, and putting it in the sky somewhere and using a ridiculously high value of ignition. While it's good for us, we're trying to avoid that. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it. I'll show you what happens. Here's another one. So that value now is multiplied. So, like I said before, I have it set to 20, which is the limit of Photoshop's limit for intensity. I can also go up a little more to the stops as well. What will happen is though, my scene will, the light will explode in the scene. See that? So we try to avoid avoid as much of that as possible. The scene the light to explode. So I keep it like a 7 or something like that. It's just that's high. That's very, very high for light. And same thing here as well. I could do it here as well. So it stops at like something. You see the artifacting? That's because you're breaking your map by going that high. I mean, in a real situation, I would never go this high. So the sun now, if I go to my background layer and hit the eyedropper, it's not 81,000. It's like 90,000. That is extremely high, and I can just go one layer now. Just do one layer now, and hover over that. 580,000. 580. That's not bad. So let's turn this down a little bit, just a scooch. Just hit the 10. Okay, good. That's pretty good right there. So I'm kind of tweaking my values a bit so that I get an idea of what I want my lighting. And by the way, to create the HDRs for Unity, I use a program called Luminance HDR, which is a free open source program. It's really robust program. It's really strong, really good program for creating HDRs with. You know, so basically View. If you use View or TerraGem, all I did was I took a run to the sky and I did like 4 or 5 exposures of the sky. You know, one really bright, one really dark, and then with the software combine them together. And then come to Photoshop and I tweak the sun a little bit in the sky a little more, a little extra. So we'll do another save and let it do its thing. Now the other drawback to this workflow is you unfortunately have to save the HDR as well as rebake your lighting. That's only drawback. Like a lot of my outdoor levels. For level interiors, not so much. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You know, in fact, if I'm dragging my my game view, so you can see how the character models look with the HDRs enabled. Now also too, because I did the lux values of the skybox of the skybox, you notice how there's more blue on the character, and there you go. Look at that. Now you notice now because I turned the lux values up in the sun so high, everything's not blown up. And this is limitation right here you got to worry about. You do not want this. It looks like a scene from Terminator. if I go ahead and do a quick bake of the cube map, with this scene like this, you know, looks blown up, and theoretically, this shot looks like the directional light turned all the way up. This is essentially what IBL lighting does. If you have true HDR in your scenes, you could theoretically light your entire scene just using the HDR by itself, which is a luxury all its own. So let's give it a second here to do its thing. And of course, this brightness level here, this is too extreme. This is overkill. You don't want this kind of lighting. So that's one of the challenges too, is basically going back and checking your work and make sure the lux values aren't too high in your shot. So I'm gonna go back and just turn down the sun a little bit. So let's turn down the sun just a little bit. Yeah, turn down the sun. You probably notice how it had no effect in the image. So go ahead and see. Yeah, 580 looks good. Actually, let's go back here. Just tweak the intensity slight. And also too, in Photoshop, I have, if you probably notice, I have this set to multiply, which is what you want for your for sun, multiply the values of the sun. So yeah, that's pretty good. And we're going to, back in Unity, of course, this is the result you get when you have your lux values too high. But this is a great way to light your scene using nothing but IBL. You know, and I found a way to delete the sun out of my HDR. So I'm going to save this one last time, just to show you how easy it is to tweak your lighting in your scene using this method. So go ahead and just let it do this cube map. But yeah, basically, for about a year, about a few months, I've been trying to figure out ways to light my scenes using nothing but IBLs. And basically, notice how this even the sun's extremely bright. You notice how, look at all the highlights in your scene, all the highlights from this one image-based lighting. You see this a lot in visual effects movies, and now you can do it here in Unity. If you're careful with how you tweak your values. I've had moments where the entire scene turned into a 70s neon wet dream because I had the value too high. And if you're curious, I'll show you that too. If you're curious, I'll show you what happens when you set your lumens value too high in HDR. It's I'll go ahead and just do a quick bake. And I'll take my sun, my sun luminance, and just duplicate it. I think Unity has a limit of 65,000 for lux value for HDR. So like right now, that's 5 million. That's, look at the numbers there. 3.4, 3. It looks like what is it? 292 million value for lux. That is way too high. For a CGI film, that'll work just fine. But for this, though, it's too much. I'll show you what happens right now. We go ahead and do it like this. So let's give it a second here to do its thing. And right now I'm also, there we go. So let's do its thing. See what happens when you bake the lux value at a right amount. I mean, theoretically with this, I can light my entire scene with this one HDR. But if you want shadows in your scene, what I end up doing is removing the sun out of the shot. You know, by painting up the sun. With that, I can paint the sun out of the HDR. So give it a second here, and there we go. And this is basically, I can light my entire scene using just this single HDR with a very bright sun. And like I said before, to prove that it's true HDR, in true HDR, if you turn the brightness down to like really low, the brightest pixels should still show. So I'm gonna lower the exposure a little bit to like something very small. And right now, even at 0.049999 and whatever it was, the sun is still the brightest spot in the sky. So that's how you know you're using true HDR. Okay. And now I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you now what happens when you when you set your lux values to ridiculous levels in here. So someone's 300, like five over 6 million lux value. That's insane. Like I would never do that high, ever. Even the sun is the brightest spot in the sky. So basically, so pretty much here. You probably noticed too that it does wonders. It also does wonders on my skin shader too, which is really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag in my game view just for a second, so you can see what it all looks like when I drag it in. Let's give it a second to do its thing. Yeah, I believe there's a feature called Look Dev, which I haven't used yet. But this is a nice way to light your scenes inside of Unity and checking all the lux values and everything. Usually, like an overcast sky, the sky is very bright, so you want to use that to your advantage when you work on your sky. So let's give it a second here to do its thing. Let it import it. You probably notice the highlight will change a little bit. There we go. So pretty much, that's what it looks like when you have your luminance values set way too high. I don't know what this is, but it looks like a neon nightclub wet dream or something. You know, like you had too much, like you smoked too much weed or something. So, a little word of advice: do not go as high. I learned this the hard way. I would never go that high again, ever again, for my lux values. And let's go back here one more time, fix it. You know, I'm also getting a little creative too. I want a little more blue in my sky, so I went ahead and just changed it up a little bit. For me, it's not about how real the sky can look to me. At least in my project, it's how it feels to my eyes. So basically, I want a little more blue in the sky. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. In this way too, with the new values I'm working with in Unity, I don't have to set my directional light really high for no odd reason at all. You know, I can keep my sky lighting relatively tame. You know, like I can set my sunlight to like intensity of 1, and let the HDR do the rest of the work. You know, and normally, of course, I need to learn how to paint up my sun so that I don't get double highlights. But also having a sun flare on your light helps with placement too, which is nice. It makes it easier to place your lights. So if you have a 2K HDR value, you see this, don't do that. Don't do this. It looks funny to me too, like like you're in a nightmare. So here's the shot again, and this is pretty much the lux value I'm going for the sun here. So I'm going to drag my game view into my screen here so you can see what it looks like. Trying to lost window here. There we go. So this is the game view with the skin shaders attached to characters. And I'm gonna do one final bake because I'm kind of going on my time here. You know, it's 23 minutes of talking about image-based lighting, which is great. I want to show this a little more in depth on how I'm able to control my lux values using in Unity. So let's give it a second. Give the enlighten a minute to do its thing, to bake. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick here. I'm fighting allergies and a lot of pollen this time of year, so it's kind of a pain in the neck. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was up to 5 o'clock this morning doing my research on this topic, and I'm glad that I was able to sit down and really figure out how to get it all working. So basically, of course, I can now light my outdoor levels now with of course, it's all about, you know, experimentation and seeing what works for you. You like your scenes, you know, and basically, of course, in a film, you can go crazy with the lighting and look good as possible. Because you have a second here, let do its thing, and you see now this is the game view and the scene view. This is basically the final lighting. You see all the highlighting. This is essentially how it would look if you use a single directional light in your scene. And basically, I've now lit my entire scene using HDR. You know, I'll turn the sun back on now. And the sunlight would just even things out. The sunlight would just even everything out. So turn it down like 0.5. You know, now there are shadows now, but you with the strong sun, you won't see the shadows at all. You might did this, you know, it'll make it seem too bright for no reason at all. So it's like 0.25 for the sun, for the directional light, and you'll get shadows, but all the lighting here is now from the sun here. So I hope you guys learned something today. You know, ways of creating your, like, you ever need skies for your game or anything like that. You know, now you have a way to light your scene. So this is Kashif from KRGraphics. Like you saw today, leave a like, leave a comment below for any questions you may have for me in regards to my setup or anything I'm doing for my future projects. And definitely subscribe to my channel because I'm always going to have some really cool stuff, including things like game development, 3D art, and also too, I recently acquired my 3D printer. I bought the Robo C2, which is really great, and I'll cover that in another video after a review. So, without further ado, guys, I want to thank you for watching my video, and see you next time. God bless you.